Having looked at the introduction where we looked at the slide which was introducing us to Microsoft Excel, let's now get familiar with the environment, whereby you're going to see some familiar features such as when you look at the different tabs, there are some tabs that are similar to what we looked at under Microsoft Word. We have the home, we have the insert, draw, page layout, formula, data, review, view, automate, help, and Acrobat. So these are all some of these tabs. Of course, we've looked at them earlier before. Then you're going to see we have our ribbon here, which is having tool sets or sub tool sets of the tools under each tab. Under the home tab, we have these tools. Under insert, we also have the insert tools. Under draw, we also have the draw tools. So basically, when you look at the home tab, these are some of the things we've already looked at in Microsoft Word, which I'm not going to rely on them a lot, wasting a lot of time looking at. We have the font size, increase font, decrease font, bold, italic, underline, and so on and so forth. Some of those areas we have already covered under Microsoft Word. Like we said earlier, in Excel we are dealing with rows and columns. This is a row. If you look at this, this is a row, and if I put my cursor, let's say here, this is a column. This is what we were talking about earlier. The intersection of the row and a column where the two meet creates what we call a cell. This is a cell. And then on this cell here, we have what we call name box. This name box is the one which carries the name of the cell that you're handling, or you're dealing, or you're putting your data into. If I put my cursor here, you're going to see C2. Where did I get C2 from? The letter above on this column is C, and then the number on the left hand side on this row is 2, hence C2. That is the name of this cell. And then we also have our formula bar here. And if you remember very well, we said there are two ways you can enter your data into a cell. One of it is you can type here, direct your data, like we are seeing. Or alternatively, you can put your cursor here, then come to formula bar, and then type, and then you're going to see also that data which you've put in the formula bar here is also going to be reflected in your cell. These are some of the things that we need to be bearing in mind. Then there are scenarios whereby you've entered your data like this, but the data itself is not fitting in that cell. The data is bigger than the cell. What do you need to do at this point? You can adjust. This is a point of adjustment. This line here, come to this line, left click all down, then drag it to this other side, such that your data is able to fit in perfectly. If I come here, I'm also going to do the same. My data is going to fit in perfectly. Okay, these are some of the basic things that we need to get familiar with as we are getting started. We also have what you will call the data types. An example is this, and right now it's on general, meaning I can put here A, B, C, then 2, 3, 4, and they will all fit in as you're seeing. They have no problem at all. But then we also have different data types still, whereby I can put my cursor here, I come to general, I choose, let's say, numbers. Now the data type here is numbers. Much as it's accepting this, it is designed for numbers. Let's try putting it a number. This is a cell for numbers. Then we have currency. If I put in currency, you're going to see how it's appearing at the moment, because I've selected the data type as currency. Let me try to type in something like this. You can see it comes with the shilling sign, because yes, that's the default I set mine to. Under currency, it's coming as shillings, as you're seeing. Then let's see, I put something like this. Yes, what it's meaning at this point doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with this, but what it's telling me is the figure inside this cell is bigger than the size of the cell. So if I extend now, you can see the figure is appearing. Well, when it's smaller like this, it will not give me the figures, but it's indicating that the whatsoever value is inside is bigger than the size of the cell. That is if you're dealing with currency. So we have different data types. If I have here under currency, then I come and do something like this, it will still hold it, but that cell is best for currency. That's why when I do like this, you're going to see the 1000 separator and this currency symbol is added automatically. I don't need to add those ones. That is something that we need to be familiar with. And there are scenarios whereby you have something like this. Then let's say it's on date, long date. Then you want to put in something different. At this point, whatsoever value you'll be putting here will be converted into date automatically. Whatsoever value you're putting here, because the data type is date, it will be converting it into date automatically. That is the reason as to why when you're entering your data into your cells and it's not giving you what you desire, make sure that it's in the correct data type. Make sure it's in the correct data type. Let me select general. Let's start with general now. Something we need to observe about this, let me expand this too so that we can see clearly properties about these different data types. Let's have a word here as Chris, and then we have another word here, let's say 1000. If you can look at these two figures, these two data very well, they are of different data types. One is a character, one is a number. If you look at this, you're going to see it's aligned by default to the left hand side. But the moment you're dealing with numbers, they're going to be aligned by default to the right hand side. Please be bearing that in mind. It's going to be very, very helpful along the journey as we keep on moving. Okay. Now I have problem with people who are starting Excel and then they put something like this. Instead of 0, they put O. And they think this is 1000. This is not 1000. This is 1 and 3 O's, which is now treating it as a character. It's no longer a number. This is not a 0. This is not a 0. This is not a 0. These are O's. Look at when I convert them now into the right thing, which is 0, how it's looking, and what happens. It aligns it to the right hand side. We need to be bearing that in mind as we are moving forward. Another thing that we need to be knowing is the property of autofilling. Excel is a very good tool and a smart tool for that matter that you can. Let's take an example. I put here 1. If I autofill with 1, it's going to give me 1 throughout because there's no sequence which is being followed. I just gave it 1 and it has followed 1. But what happens when I give it here 1 and then here I put 2? Then I highlight both. I come to the corner here up to when you see how my cursor is looking now. Then when I come to the corner here, this is how the cursor is supposed to look for it to autofill. Left click at that point, hold it down and drag downwards. Now you can see what happens. It's telling me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It knows there's a sequence which was followed to move from 1 to 2, which means we added 1 to 1 to get a 2. So for us to get the next number, we have to add 1 to the previous number to get the next number. And that is what it has given me. Don't think it is just doing it out of cram work or what. It is following a sequence which you've given it. Let's see another example. Let's say we have here 1, then here we have 4 instead of 3 or instead of 2. Then I autofill. It's going to give me based on the sequence which I followed. To move from 1 to 4, I added 3. So it will know to move from 1 to the next number, it also has to add 3. It kept on adding 3 up to where I ended. Let's look at another example. I can have here something like this. NONIN01. Then I have here NIN02. These are the two figures that I have. the two data, that I've entered, I autofill, you can see what happens. It knows the sequence which I was following, and it gives me exactly that. If I come now here and I say NIN 01, and then here I say NIN 03, I autofill, you're going to find out that it's going to also give me based on the sequence that I gave it. From 1 to 3, which means I added a 2. From 3 to 5, which means 2 was added. From 5 to 7, 2 was added. So it follows the sequence in which the data I gave it is presented. If you want to get rid of all this data, all you need to do is highlight it all. After highlighting, you come to your keyboard. You're going to have to press delete on your keyboard, and then you're going to get rid of that data. So this is how we play around with data in Microsoft Excel. Let's meet in the next class.